Good morning, boys. Today's the 1st of November, 2019. I talked about the tornado in 2-7. So, yeah, Fort Stewart was my first duty station in Hinesville, Georgia, is where that is. And I was in 2-7 Infantry, cotton balers. It was a very old battalion, old infantry battalion, had a lot of history. Actually, cotton balers. That came from the term came from they fought during the Revolutionary War against the British and took cover behind cotton bales. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I was in a support platoon, and I was a private, and there was 4 or 5 of us. We were all brand new, but there was 4 or 5 of us in this group, this platoon, that were all from California. And our NCOs, they didn't know what to do with us. They thought we were wild, being from California. And there was a lot of cultural difference, too, from the South to California. And we would go to the field and we'd play Army, and there's all these swamps out in Georgia, and I remember we used to get ham slice MREs, these little slices of ham in the MREs, and you could hear these baby alligators, and they'd make this noise, and we would get them almost eat out of our hand with these ham slices. Of course, having said that, means Mom was probably around somewhere, so we had good times. I remember one time in particular, we were on ammunition duty, and they were doing a training exercise with the Bradleys, which are these they're almost like a tank, but instead of the big gun, they shoot a 25 millimeter machine gun. And we were issuing out. We'd break down the ammo and then issue it out. And in the Army, people play a lot of spades. And the guys were up late playing spades, and I wanted to go to bed, and they were loud, and so were the guns that were firing all night long. And I put my earplugs in. They issued these earplugs, and to this day I don't wear earplugs to sleep anymore, and I'll tell you why. So I woke up. I could feel the heat off this large orange ball of fire on the other end of this tent, this GP medium we were in. And I got out of the tent, and you gotta remember, this tent, we were right in the middle of all this ammunition. Was stacked up higher than the tent. If that would have caught on fire, I don't know, it might not have been good for us. But come to find out, what had happened was, sometimes it gets cold in Georgia, and it was winter time, and we had this stove to keep us warm in the tent. We called it an R2D2 stove. It was this little stove, and it took kerosene, and so we had fire watch. And so at night we would take turns staying up to watch the stove and make sure it didn't catch on fire, and mostly to keep fuel in it in case it went out, so that we could stay warm. And Edison, one of the guys, he was from Mississippi. Apparently what had happened was, so to fill this heater, you would use a 5-gallon jug, and we had a siphon action pump that would pump the fuel out, and then out of the 5-gallon container into the heater, and then when you were done, there was a little release valve that let air into this, and it would stop flowing. The fuel would stop flowing through this little pump. Well, Edison didn't know how to stop it once the fuel started, and so he got scared and he threw that stove up against the tent wall, which, I guess apparently, flames were all over the inside of the tent, and they all ran outside and left me in there. And Kerry, one of the guys, he grabbed, and I'm not sure why, but it was mandatory. Part of the safety was we had to have so many water fire extinguishers. So he grabbed one of those water fire extinguishers, and I don't know if you've ever seen water hit a fuel fire, but just spread it everywhere. And that's when I woke up, apparently, is when he hit that fire with the water, and that's where the big ball of orange flame came from. So that story was funny. There was another time we were in the field, and one of the NCOs, his name was Sergeant Webster, and the other NCOs, for whatever reason, they were not kind to him, and they didn't like him, I don't think, and we would sneak back to the rear once a week or so and take a shower. And he was in charge of us, and we were leaving, going back to the field after our showers were done, and I was sitting up in the front of the cab of this big truck, a 2.5-ton truck, or maybe it was a 5-ton, I don't remember now, and I see Kerry throw his duffel bag out of the truck, and then he jumps out, and I tell Sergeant Webster, I said, hey, Kerry just left, and he thought I was kidding, and I convinced him, no, that I was being honest, and he was so scared because the NCOs didn't like him, and here he is now. He's got this one responsibility to take us back to get showers, and he's screwing that up, and he didn't want to face these guys without Kerry, and so he said, well, where do you think he went? And there was a little shop at a little convenience store on the corner, and I said, well, he's over there calling his wife, to get a ride. And it was he would get in more trouble because his wife, she didn't like him being gone, which was, I'll tell you, the military is not conducive to a family environment, but because you are gone a lot. And although I loved the military, I really did. We had such good times. Anyway, he was back there calling his wife at the payphone, back before cell phones, Anyway, I love you guys, and for you who don't know, I'm a father of 4 sons, and I don't get to see them very often. And my 4th son, my youngest, I haven't seen in a long time, and so I'm on here, and I'm just talking a little bit about myself and some of the things I've gone through, and some of my perspective on life and religion, and I just want my sons to know that I love them and I'm very proud of them. Be good.